same plot. Siali Choka. So she had to go, of course, many years in the courts fighting, and then she was paid some money, which was lower than the market value. The person who she found there is the one who, you know, that's the one she sued. So then he had to go to whoever sold it to him, and you know, you just keep going backwards. Yes. So it's a pretty nasty affair. What are some of the things that we should be on the lookout for? Because, you know, people like us, let me not say us, people like Valentine, who is, I don't know anybody who runs for deals faster than Valentine. There's land being sold. It's a family affair. You know how you always told, there's land being sold, there's a bypass which is coming, there's a school being built. And a sewer line. And a sewer line. Who tells you, you buy the paper, you're like, I've seen half a story. So what are the things we should be on the lookout for people like us who really run to those sorts of opportunities?
So the first thing you need to do is your due diligence. So you've been taken there by an agent or a flyer or a WhatsApp message or your chama, whatever it is, and you're told this is the land.
Right.
So the first thing you should do, because this is public information, it's available to everyone in the country, is you do a search on that title. So you get a copy of the title and you go to the Ministry of Lands on Thika Road at Survey or Ardhi House or now Ardhi Sasa, and you do a search on the land.
Wait. So title deeds, you know, because people act like title deeds are like this, close to the chest. So they're actually public documents. It's like asking for someone's ID. It's not a big deal. You're selling me something, show me the title deed.
So they should give you a copy, of course not the original. They should give you a copy of the title. You should then go and do a search. It should take a week, maybe 2 weeks. Sometimes the files do get lost. Sometimes it will take you a month to do the search, but you should do a search. And never feel rushed. That's the first rule of being conned. The con man will come to you or con woman, you have to pay, and you have to pay now, you have to pay, and they'll pressurize you on phone, and you feel like I'm losing this brilliant deal.
Kuna mama mwingine hata ako karibu kulipa.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Kuna mwingine hata ashalipa. I don't think now, maybe I look for another property. Then you start telling them, no, give her back her money. I'll pay the cash today. Full, everything.
Exactly.
So,
Kenya is a developing country. There is land everywhere.
But is there though? Because you know that's the thing. Because we are under the impression that land is so scarce, especially in urban areas, and you know, if you land on an opportunity, it's a golden opportunity, and we always feel like you're the only one who has seen it.
It's true, and you don't whisper loudly.
No, you don't. No, you don't. There are great deals. There are some people who, unfortunately, will be desperate for money, and they do sell their land at a lower than market rate. Right. And the agent, if it's a professional agent, they'll also handle you in a professional way, right? So they won't call you all the time, tell you, this land is going, it's gone, you know. So you have time to do your due diligence, because they also understand that you have to do the due diligence.
Because as mom says all the time, t-shirt, land is not a t-shirt. It's not an impulse purchase. So as the buyer, don't feel rushed.
Don't feel rushed. Just do the due diligence. And if you don't know how to do it, hire a lawyer. A reputable lawyer, because there are, you know, con men selling land and there are con men acting as lawyers. So you need to be very careful. But at the end of the day, you need to do your due diligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Let me just clarify. There is the Estate Agents Registration Board. People don't know this. Estate agents, it's not just anyone who can sell property in Kenya. You have to be registered with the Estate Agents Registration Board. It's under the Ministry of Lands. Yes.
That's the other thing.
The way we see phone numbers on trees.
Yes.
Call me.
Yes. So that phone number, send him 10 bob on M-Pesa and then get the name.
Then you check. Because usually you find, exactly, that's how we find.
Real estate, what board?
Estate Agents Real Estate Board.
Estate Agents Real Estate Board.
Yes.
Where do I find it? Like, where do I...
It's under the Ministry of Lands. It's online. If you just Google Estate Agents Real Estate Board, you'll find it. Yeah, it's just online.
Because usually how do we find agents? You know, it's that sign there on top of Mganga Halisi kutoka Tanzania.
and then vote for me, and then land for sale. Yeah.
That's what we usually get. That's what we usually get it from. Okay, so another...
So send some ka-M-Pesa, ka-2 bob, ka-10 bob, get a full name.
Get their name. They shouldn't, and if it's someone who is conning you, once you ask them for documentation, a copy of their ID, anything, of course they'll run away. But if it's a legitimate person, they'll even have that certificate. They'll show you everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Here's another question I have then. In the process of buying land, you might, encounter those agents and those people who are selling, but they don't want you to meet the original owner of the property.
Yes.
How do you go about that situation? Because I've been in a situation like that, which stopped me from buying a piece of land.
Okay.
Because this guy that we went to see, he's a Kamze. So everybody's telling me, no, he's a Mzee, he can't con you. And I'm like,
even thieves get old.
No, exactly. So there's red flags, just flying all over the place.
Yes.
And I'm told, no, this is an old man, he can't con you. Nimtua Kanisa. You know how they tell you all these things. And then so I'm asking him, who is the owner of this land? Because that's the person I want to transact with. Then they start giving you stories. Oh, Sijui is in Dubai. Then I don't know, Sijui he's not come back, so he gave me the
Did he ask you for money?
Authority. No, he didn't ask me for money. But he wanted me to pay him the money. The agent.
Yeah.
Then he pays the owner.
Okay. So that's another rule on the ground.
Please use the mic.
Oh, sorry. That's another rule on the ground. So basically, do not ever pay a real estate agent unless it's viewing commission. They've taken you around. You want to give them a tip, fine. But the land is going for 10 million, and you pay the agent 10 million. Hey. Do not do that.
But what about the 90-day thing? Like you're supposed to pay a deposit, then come up with a sale agreement, then 90 days later you pay the balance, or whatever the sale agreement is.
Yes.
Can that deposit be given to an agent, like just to
Never.
hold on to? So nothing.
Never. The person who can hold on to that money legally is the seller's lawyer.
Oh.
Or if you don't trust the seller's lawyer, you and the seller can open an escrow account.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Okay, because in the States, that's how real estate is
Even
done.
in Kenya, it's done by any commercial bank. They'll open an escrow account for you.
So me and Mike, we open an account.
Exactly.
He can't withdraw without me. I can't withdraw without him.
Exactly.
When everything is done to funge account.
Exactly.
So
if you're the buyer and he's the seller, once you peep into the account and you can see that the money is there, you'll transfer the property to Valentine.
Right.
Once it's transferred, then now she'll release the funds to you.
I stop being a signatory.
You stop being a signatory.
Okay.
Lawyers don't like this because lawyers also gain interest from the money that's paid into their accounts.
Okay.
But there's also LSK that regulates lawyers. So they can't abscond with your money. If it's a legitimate lawyer, he'll gain interest. That's just
But he could be
trades.
disbarred if he runs away with the money.
Exactly.
Or if he runs
It's a
away with the
criminal
money.
offense.
It's a criminal offense, exactly, yeah.
Nice.
So you have two options.
Quickly,
Yes.
who pays the agent?
No,
Is it me, the buyer? Is it the seller?
So the seller hires the agent to sell their property.
That's a good question.
And I am employed by the seller in this case.
So I should never pay you a commission unless nijisikie tu she got me a good deal. I'm happy.
No. There are some buyer's agents, but it's not common in the Kenyan market. Yes, there are markets where a buyer will come and tell you, I have 10 million, 15 million to spend, find me a property, and I'll pay you a commission. So it happens abroad. I'm yet to see it in Kenya.
Okay, so sellers pay the commission.
We have to talk about that one because there is something that agents charge called viewing fee. But we have to talk about that. When we come back from this break, remember we're asking you, what challenges have you faced buying land in Kenya? What challenges have you faced buying land in Kenya? Let's talk about that. You can use the WhatsApp number which is on the screen, and we'll take your thoughts and comments after this break. Welcome back to The Loop, where a bold and fresh look at our lives in Kenya. And tonight we're discussing the thorny issue of buying land in Kenya. How many people do you know, perhaps even yourself, have been conned in a land deal and then it's just gone south completely? People have heppered. So the question we're asking is, what challenges have you faced buying land in Kenya? What challenges have you faced buying land in Kenya? Nemo says, where? I'm even afraid to buy land because my uncle was conned 10 million shillings. What do you do when you... Okay, anyway. Mungai says, unajua umenistua, let me go and check on my plot now. That's the question I'll be asking. What challenges have you faced buying land in Kenya? Okay, fine.
But actually, this conversation has explained, you know those signs, land not for sale.
Yeah.
Like, don't be conned.
Yes.
No, but still, you know, even with those signs on the property, you'll always find someone who's telling you, the owner forgot to take it down. And so, would I be here if this plot was not being sold? Those sorts of things.
There's an owner who had written plot not for sale and put his own number there. So you call that number and he tells you, no, actually, I'm the owner and I'm not selling. It didn't work. He's still holding on to the land.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so there's something that agents charge called a viewing fee. I remember once when, in my younger days, when I was moving out of home and I was looking for a place to go. And so I was looking for a place along Ngong Road. And so I went to the newspaper, you know those at the back of the papers where they have the classifieds, right? So I saw, 1 bedroom on Ngong Road. So I was like, Ngong Road, that must be somewhere Adams Arcade, you know, somewhere really, really nice. So I call the agent tells me, let's meet, we meet, and then we start going on Ngong Road. And I'm wondering why we're not reaching this place on Ngong Road.
You know, it goes all the way to Rongai.
That we ended up in Ngong.
He wasn't lying.
So technically he wasn't lying, but we get to Ngong and then the guy is asking me for viewing fee. And the places he took me to, one was like almost a cow shed. It was like this unfinished property. And he's there trying to convince me the way this thing is nice.
Those jokes of Ulilala Nangombe.
So I'm wondering, why should I pay you viewing fee and I have not yet gotten the place I want?
So viewing fee, you can consider it to be a token of appreciation because he went out and spent time, went out, found the property, talked to the landlord, said, I'm going to bring you a tenant.
But he's getting a commission from the
then now the airtime he's spending on you, the fuel he's spending on you. So you can consider it to be a token because it's usually like 1,000 bob, 2,000 bob. You can consider it to be a token. However, it shouldn't be, I've found you this land, it's going for 30 million, and now give me 1%.
Right.
You see, it should be commensurate to the effort that's put in. Yes, because the person who is hired to sell the property has to put in the marketing, market intelligence, and all these things. You understand?
Okay. So now that we're talking about selling, I'm a seller, it's an election year, I've been told this is a bad time to sell. Yes. What can I do to move my land or my property?
So here you have 2 options. If you have an option not to sell, if you're not desperate to sell, get your property off the market. Because usually during election time, property prices dip. So you won't get the maximum you can get for your property.
So right now it's a buyer's market.
Right now it's a buyer's market, yes.
Which means it favors the buyer. So if you have money, now is a good time. Election years are a good time to buy.
Exactly, exactly. However, if you're desperate to sell your property at any point in time, first thing you should do is talk to a real estate agent and ask them, how much can I get for my property? They should do a comparative market analysis for your property and tell you the house next door, this time last year went for this much, but where the market is headed, you're probably going to get this or that.
Okay.
You can also hire valuers who will also tell you the value of the house, the building as it stands. The stones are worth this much, the land is worth this much.
You did mahogany floors. We have marble in the kitchen, yada,
so
yada.
you'll get this.
Okay.
But usually the real estate agent and the valuer, you will find they're not that far apart.
So you're better off talking to the realtor who has an incentive to give you a price because they'll earn a commission down the line.
And who has a database of buyers looking in your area.
And like a valuer who's like, nimekuja nimeona leta pesa. And then you'll still end up with an agent.
You'll still end up with an agent, exactly. Yes. So if you do a market analysis, your property, and you price it correctly, your property should move within 6 weeks to 3 months.
6 weeks to 3 months.
Yes.
There are properties we've seen on
in this economy
for a
that
year.
we're having now.
You're
Yes.
always talking about pricing.
Yes.
You're always saying if it's not moving, no one's calling, price is wrong.
The
I'm like,
price
hey,
is
what?
wrong. Listen to your real estate agent. If your agent tells you your property will go for 15 million, but your neighbor 10 years ago sold at 30 million, your property, it will not move at that 30 million. Forget it. Just take it off the market, wait for the market to get back to that 30 million, and then put it back on the
Or
market.
you're on all these websites, Property24, Buy Rent
Exactly.
Kenya, blah, blah, blah. You're like, I've seen.
Exactly.
It's this much.
Exactly.
But
you've seen it there. That doesn't mean it's moving. Maybe it's been there for 3 years.
And we've seen that. I mean, you drive around and you see like the places where the to-let sign has been there for a whole year.
Forever, because the price is wrong, because the seller or the landlord has an unrealistic expectation.
6 weeks to 3 months.
Yes.
Eh?
If your property doesn't move that quickly, get it off the market, re-strategize, maybe wait, maybe you're not that desperate for the money anymore. Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Okay.
That means when the weather changes, if the market is still on the market, is a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't want your property to be overexposed. Because similar to a new phone or a new car, when we put a property on the market, the buyers, we call them hot buyers, they're calling and they want to buy that property. If the phone stops ringing, take that property off the market.
Okay, so I have
I've
a
done
property.
that as a renter. I've seen a property, I'm like, itaanguka. Then I
See?
waited, and then I was like, bado tu. And then when I called, I was now getting it at the price I wanted.
Exactly.
I've done that as a renter.
Exactly.
Okay, but you see, okay. Let's say I have a property and now I want to dispose of it. What are the ways that I can market it to make it attractive to
First thing, you call me, okay? That's the first thing you do.
So I don't do it myself. I don't go there and say...
No. I wouldn't advise a seller unless, okay, there are two options again. If it's your home where you live and your emotions are entangled in that house, do not sell that house for yourself. One, you'll overprice it. When the buyers come to see the property and tell you, hey, you'll catch feelings.
They don't see what you see.
They don't see what you see, the birthday parties, the firstborn that was there, blah, blah. They don't see all that. Yeah, so of course, you'll get caught up in your emotions. You'll make an incorrect decision. Yeah? However, if it's a piece of land somewhere, Nauko, Naivasha, Nanyuki, blah, blah.
You are prospecting.
You are prospecting.
Right.
You can sell it yourself, but you're better off hiring an agent who is on ground there.
Yeah.
Who will tell you, that property won't go for 400, it will go for 350.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you sell it at that 350.
So as a buyer,
Yeah.
should I call an agent and say, hey, I've got 10M, I want blah, blah, blah? Or will the agent, because I feel like this is a trick thing, right?
Yeah.
The agent will then go and say, the property that was 8
is now 10.
It's 10, right?
Yeah.
So how honest should we be?
So buyers are now empowered because you have all sorts of platforms online. You can go to a reputable real estate agent and just go on their website and you'll see what properties they have listed. You see. So you can shop around for yourself online before getting on ground.
And that thing Kenyans do of I've seen it's 10 and then you call Nikona Sita.
Yeah.
So is that a strategy?
It's bargaining.
Yeah.
It's still Kenya, so you can call
I feel
and say
like when
Nikona
it's
Sita.
land, you shouldn't do that. Like if I was the seller, I'd be like,
But it's usually an agent who has posted it up. They won't catch feelings. It's a transaction. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're better off hiring an agent to take those blows for you, and they'll tell you, sita haiwezi, labda nane.
As an agent, are you obliged to tell the seller every offer you get?
For the service level I offer, I tell my sellers all the offers I get.
So even if it's a 6M offer for a 10M property,
Exactly.
you're offering that.
Exactly. I'll know how to word it. I'll be like, okay, don't shoot the messenger. You know? But I will tell you so that you also get a realistic idea of the offers that are on the ground.
Aha.
Because your price might be unrealistic. So I might tell you, we'll price it at 10, but we're going to get offers at 6. And sure enough, there they come, offers at 6. Yeah.
Okay.
This is stunning.
That's very, very, very interesting. We hope you're learning something wherever you're watching from, and would love to hear from you. The WhatsApp number is on the screen, and let us know your thoughts and opinions. We have to take another short break, but don't go too far.
hihi nyokweda mohoda broti mauta. We saw the Mamito skit, and no, you're not watching the wrong TV station. This is K24. You're watching The Loop, and we're talking about buying land. And you've been sending us some of your responses. I'm laughing too hard, Mike.
Let's see. And Eric Kiplangat has a response for us. Remember, the WhatsApp number is on the screen. You can talk to us about what are your challenges. What challenges have you faced, rather, buying land in Kenya? Eric Kiplangat says, title deed is challenging when the seller has not issued the buyer with it. Yeah. You paid some money and then the title deed has not been processed and you have to go through all that drama.
How long does that take? Let me just jump in and ask.
I wouldn't put a timeline to it because they're cleaning up the Ministry of Lands right now and the registry, putting everything on Artisasa.
Okay.
So some transfers are on hold, some subdivisions are on hold. There's a lot of backlog. So sometimes you're not being conned.
Okay.
If you go yourself or send your lawyer, they'll tell you this is exactly what's happening at the Ministry of Lands.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was another response we have from Abu, and remember we're asking what are the challenges that you have faced buying land in Kenya. Abu says, hey, I have a case where the guy sold the land, but suddenly turned and said that the land was owned by family, and he had no authority to sell it solely, and this case is still in court to date. This
actually happens in many parts of Kenya. I remember title deeds in Kajiado stopped being issued because they declared it's not willing buyer, willing seller. I think also in Nyanza, there's a lot of clan land, so Lamu. So how do you even find out, like, okay, which is an area that's likely for this to happen, where you're like, I need to meet the clan?
Once again, due diligence. Get a copy of the title, go to the Ministry of Lands. It might be a piece of land in Lamu, so you'll have to send someone to the lands registry in Lamu.
Oh.
Yeah, but do your due diligence. You work so hard, you wake up at 5 a.m. to earn your money. You know, you get home late. Just take a few weeks, do the due diligence, and find out who exactly owns this land. Okay. Because those records are available, and they are public knowledge.
Okay. We have another response. Again, remember we're asking what challenges have you faced buying a land in Kenya? And Lenda says the challenge is you get the land has been sold to different people, which is what we're talking about. Exactly. You know, and to your point about due diligence. Yes. I have a question about off-plan properties.
Go ahead.
That one.
They sound like such an opportunity,
They sound like a really good opportunity until you get to, because I remember now when COVID had just hit and, you know, people are getting laid off from work. I remember there were very many stories of people who had put money into off-plan properties. The property has not yet been complete. Yes. You know you sunk 3 million into that thing there. And every day you're passing it on your way to look for work because you've now been fired. And you're thinking, can I get my 3 million back? I can see it here.
Yosemite.
My 3 million is somewhere inside there. Are those, especially, you know, with the way things are turbulent in our country, are those... you know, like a good investment?
I don't use the word good or bad investment. Now, I know I'm not in finance exactly, but it depends on your risk appetite.
Right.
So the higher the risk, the higher the rewards. Off-plan properties are very risky. Very.
Yeah, because also some developers don't fully finish the property. They might give you something, but we've seen places where they promised a pool, they promised a kiddie play area, a gym, and
it's still just vacant land.
And then they didn't finish, but you have a house, so you can move in.
You just hold on to the house. Exactly. So once again, it's about your risk appetite. If you want something that's completed and I'm plug and play, I just walk in and I live in the house, you'll pay more for it. You see, so your return on your investment will be lower, but in terms of risk, you won't be risking your money. So you can buy off-plan. There are reputable developers all over Kenya. Right. There are also conmen all over Kenya. So if you're willing to risk your hard-earned money, go ahead.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Okay. I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't.
But, okay, I have a question. Again, related to that. Ever since I became an adult, I've been hearing this myth about this property bubble that's going to burst. You always hear about it. Oh, you know, the bubble is going to burst. The bubble will burst.
I don't
this
think
bubble,
so.
First of all, is there a bubble? And when is it bursting? Because I seem to see as if property prices, especially in Nairobi, are super inflated.
So that is a sales line that we use on ground.
Yeah.
Let me just say, let me just be honest.
Yeah.
Because in as much as you go through booms and troughs and all that, you can't really say the property bubble will burst or it's going to burst. It depends on willing buyer, willing seller.
Right.
You might find someone who is in so much debt, the only property they have should go for 30 million, but they're willing to let it go for 10 million.
Right.
Has his property bubble burst?
I think people say that because Nairobi, for example, is underserved property-wise. We have a huge population and we don't have enough housing, for example.
Okay.
So I think that's why people say it'll burst. But you'd have to oversupply property
for it to burst.
For it to burst, I think.
So currently we are actually going through a boom in supply. Just turn left anywhere, there's a construction.
We are smelling cement.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm like, this is development.
But similarly, the people who can afford the property are also in the market. You see, there's also people in the diaspora buying those properties.
Right.
Yeah, so some things, it's more about perception and creating that demand. You also need to know who you're talking to.
Okay.
To turn the emotions, how you want to turn them to complete a sale as a real estate agent. You understand?
Okay.
So sometimes you will tell someone, property bubble, it's about to burst, you need to sell your property now. The property bubble, it's about to burst, so you need to pay more. You know, so it depends on who you're talking to. So as a buyer or as a seller, you need to be informed and find out what's going on in your market.
So what I'm hearing, usichoke, this is a thing, you need to read up on it. Don't trust any one person too much. Get your own information.
Get your own information.
Okay.
Information is freely available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost 10. Imagine it's gone so quickly. Now it's time for your hard-hitting facts on us who are willing to buy and willing to sell land.
So my hard-hitting fact is always be willing to walk away from a deal. Always be willing to walk away from a deal. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, you are in control of your own destiny and you can be willing to walk away from a deal. There'll be another house. There'll be another buyer. There'll be another agent. And even as an agent, you should also be willing to walk away. If the seller, you see he's overpriced his property, or the buyer is here treating you badly, you can always walk away. You're never too entangled in a sale where you lose your power to that sale. At the end of the day, these things, it's just the earth. We leave them here on earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So how do we, you said call Waja, so how do we call Waja? How do we find Waja?
So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as Wanja Njoroge. I have a new series called Sell My Home. We premiered today, and it will be coming out every Friday.
You premiered today?
Yes, we did.
Amazing. Excellent. That's Wanja Njoroge on all platforms.
Wanja Njoroge, yes.
Okay.
Oh, and LinkedIn, yes.
Oh, nice. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so great. So we hope you've learned something. At least you can see we're all suffering together in this our Kenya. And people have got different experiences about things that are going on. And you can continue the conversation using the hashtag Loop K24 on all social media platforms. So right now, it's time for Valentine's Weekly.
It is always a bad idea to make a very long-term decision very quickly. So exactly as Waja has said, be willing to walk away. Do your own homework. Make sure that you are informed personally so that you are it's more difficult to con you, it's harder to lie to you, and ask the hard questions. Ask for all that information. I actually, until today, didn't know that you could just get a title. So we're all learning constantly. Make sure that you are also learning, and then take your time with this choice. Most people own land for a long time. It's not something that you're going to flip. It's not something you're going to sell next year or maybe even the year after. It's not an easy way to, it's not easy to liquidify cash once you invest it in land. So think about it, take your time, but also look into it because it can be a huge opportunity, a beautiful legacy to leave for your children. So look into it. Don't freak out. Don't be afraid just because you've heard they're con artists. They're con artists everywhere. So take your time, buy the land, leave that legacy. And on that note, have a good night, and I will see you next Friday. Mike is up with the sports.
K24 Sports News, powered by Mozart Bet.
What would you do with 20 million shillings? The biggest maximum payout per bet in Kenya. Kuwa mshindi. Fanya uamuzi. Mozart Bet.
And now it's time for your sports news. And Africa 100 meters record holder Ferdinand Omanyala has sent a stern warning to his rivals ahead of the Kipkeino Classic on Saturday. Omanyala, who broke the Africa record last year, is targeting to break the record once again by running the distance in a time of 9.6 seconds. And at the same time, 9-time world 100 meters champion Shelley Ann Fraser-Pryce is looking forward to an exciting and competitive race at the Kasarani Stadium tomorrow. Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed on Friday scraped entry fees for the event to encourage Kenyans to show up and to cheer athletes to glory.
Thank you so much. And tomorrow is going to be fireworks. I mean, maybe the CS should plan for other stadiums. Because it's going to be a very entertaining. We are having fun, but again, we're going in all out. Yeah, we're going for the record.
All right.
It's all about just executing the race well. And if all goes well, how does 9.6 sound to you? Like I said, it's all about executing the race. And my prayer is that I get a good start. If I get a good start, then I don't think there's anybody who will catch me. Yeah.
It's truly wonderful to be here in Kenya. And to be able to race here is wonderful. But for me, I think every time that I grace the track, I'm always looking forward to doing my best. I'm always looking forward to, excelling at single thing that I'm planning to do. And it's always faith and trusting that the work that I've done before, I will definitely be able to execute that and have a solid race.
And over 8,000 athletes have registered to participate in the first edition of the Uhuru Classic Nairobi City Marathon that will be held on Sunday morning. Athletics Kenya, in partnerships with the Ministry of Environment, have put in place sensors along the Nairobi Expressway to test for air pollution ahead of the marathon.
Everything is in place, it's all done, we are ready. So far we have got just close to 8,000 competitors already registered, and we hope to register maybe between today and tomorrow. It will definitely go higher than that. Then the Nairobi Marathon is the first marathon that will be taking measurements of air pollution. We already set up 6 sensors along the expressway. You're all welcome to come and see them. When you're there, you can.
And Professor Dishon Kiiru is the ultimate winner of a 4-bedroom mansion in the Mozart Bet's Wow Ni Hao promotion that came to an end last month. The 63-year-old placed a bet with 10 shillings and got all games correct to become the first winner of the promotion that started on the 1st and ran all the way to the 30th of April. The Gor Mahia and Manchester United fan says that he is planning to stay in his new house once he retires from lecturing at Multimedia University. In the Wow Ni Hao promotion, the Mozart Bet company rewarded 1 motorcycle every day of April to 1 lucky punter who strung together the longest winning multi-bet of the day, with winning the house being the biggest prize won by a punter who had most of the longest winning bets in that month.
Mozart Bet, but this was, I think, the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Very sober man. He gave us a very good message regarding betting responsibly, and he's in his 60s, and he said that his stake was only 10 bob. I'm sure you've heard that. And for him, he says that this is now his retirement home. And as a company, it brings us a lot of joy.
In terms of gaming, we continue to empower as well our customers with these promotions. Out of gaming, we continue to do CSR initiatives. Right now we are doing wells in Turkana County. We've been drilling boreholes over there. We will be commissioning them in the coming few weeks. We have already done a couple of wells earlier last year and in 2020 as well. In hospital, in healthcare, we have been donating medical equipment, and we continue to be a corporate socially responsible organization as well.
K24 Sports News, powered by Mozart Bet.
Tujidu with 20 million shillings. The biggest maximum payout per bet in Kenya. Kuwa mshindi. Fanya uamuzi. Mozart Bet.
And that's it for sports news tonight and for the Loop as well. And thank you to Wanja Njoroge, who was here with us talking about the challenges in buying and selling land in Kenya. Remember, you can follow her at Wanja Njoroge across all platforms on social media. Up next, though, on Unplugged, we've got Ntinyari, who's going to be here talking about her music alongside Kinoti as well, who's also going to be here. Remember, we bring you the best talent we have in the 254 because Unplugged is the premier show for talent in Kenya. That's coming up next.